So, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Okay, yes, I know. Everybody's been talking about this, and I know you probably have a ton of people who you're subscribed to talking about it, but, wow. Can I just say that the situation that is happening in this game is, not looking pretty. Now, just to put this out there, I'm not the biggest of Star Wars fans, and normally I wouldn't buy this game because, well, it's a shooter, and it's Star Wars. I normally don't buy those kinds of games. But the reason I'm talking about this is because the whole situation with the microtransactions, EA, and the loot boxes brings up a very important question when it comes to gaming as a whole. And it's a question I'd like to ask everybody. So, ladies and gentlemen, when does microtransactions go too far? Because, with microtransactions and DLC becoming more commonplace and showing up more frequently in games nowadays, I think it's an important question to ask because it really brings into perspective where gaming is heading as well as the many problems that may surface with it. So let's start with the whole controversy itself because, oh boy, is it something. Now, if you have not heard of this controversy yet, how? You must be living under a rock, but in case if you don't, let me explain. You see, this whole controversy started about a month ago, when EA displayed that Battlefront 2 would have the good old loot box system that increased in prominence due to Overwatch, and that with these loot boxes, you will gain stuff that is pretty normal with loot box kind of systems. You gain gestures, skins, emotes, standard stuff like that. But then the big controversy came in when it was revealed that the loot box system would actually give you star cards. Now, here's why this is so important. In Battlefront 2, there is a mechanic or there is a system known as the star card system. And basically what the star cards do is that you can get these star cards by, as I've already said, doing loot boxes or by leveling up and playing the game naturally. And these star cards aren't just accessories, they are things that affect the tangibility of the gameplay. They affect everything. So you could get a star card on attack damage, on speed, on cooldown, just any of these factors that affect the gameplay you can get star cards of. And, I wouldn't have a problem with it if it was the fact that you get the star card naturally. The problem came in with the fact that you could buy star cards with real-life money by using the microtransaction system implemented into Battlefront 2. You can use real-life money to gain crystals in-game that can be thus used to buy loot boxes in-game and in turn star cards. That may not seem that bad, but consider it like this. Let's compare two people who play Star Wars Battlefront 2. First is the person who plays it naturally. They get all of the items, all the star cards, everything naturally. They play it through sheer experience. They level up, they get star cards, that's it. They don't do any of the microtransactions. Now compare it to the second person, who does a combination of both, or just microtransactions entirely, and they get star cards. Do you see where I'm coming from this? The fact that you can buy things that affect the gameplay, that affect how the game works, and more importantly, how you can gain an upper advantage, especially in the online multiplayer, is just scummy. Let's think about this. You can be playing a game for hours. You can be gaining all the star cards that you can possibly can. You can upgrade yourself the best you can, when all of a sudden someone online wrecks you just by buying these star cards off of microtransactions and money. It's not just a gambling problem, even though some may say it isn't gambling, but it is. It's a problem of balance. You can have people who are so much better than you just because they buy these star cards with money. You can be at a severe disadvantage. But there's another issue besides the star cards that affect this whole problem, and that would be Darth Vader. Darth Vader. This all may seem ridiculous, but it honestly isn't. As many people know, besides the standard troop you can play in Star Wars Battlefront 2, you can also play as heroes or villains throughout the Star Wars franchise. You can play as people like Yoda, Darth Vader, Palpatine, and etc. you can basically play as these characters, and they're much more powerful than their standard troop. Now, controversy came out over the fact that one of the characters you can play as, Darth Vader, arguably one of the most iconic and famous franchise characters of all time, you would have to unlock by playing 40 hours. Now, that doesn't seem that bad. But then, they also dared to have the audacity to have the option to buy Darth Vader with the credit points you get. And as I said earlier, credit points being gained via the microtransactions and loot box system, which, you know what that means? You can buy a character by using your money. Holy crap. Due to all this controversy, EA actually responded on Reddit in a post that, as of this date, is actually the most disliked Reddit comment in Reddit history. That is insane! But what makes it even worse is the response to it, which, who is it something special? Alright, let me just quote this. Quote, "The intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. As for cost, we selected initial values based upon data from the open beta and other adjustments made to milestone rewards before launch. Among other things, we're looking at average player credit earn rates on a daily basis, and we'll be making constant adjustments to ensure that players have challenges that are compelling, rewarding, and of course, attainable via gameplay. We appreciate the candid feedback and the passion the community has put forth around the current topics here on Reddit, our forums, and across numerous social media outlets. Our team will continue to make changes and monitor community feedback and update everyone as soon and as often as we can." End quote. Oh boy, that is... ugh. Now, since then, a lot of changes have been happening to Battlefront 2. The cost for certain characters, like Darth Vader, have decreased in value, but so has the credits you earn, strangely enough. And not to mention, there's also the fact of how, if you want to gain credits by playing through arcade mode, but there's actually a set limit on how many credits you can earn, meaning that you can't just grind arcade mode, which is honestly, quite frankly, stupid. While it may look like that they're making it better, they're making it in some ways even more hilariously worse. And that's basically the situation in a nutshell. If you want a better look at it from a person who knows more about this kind of stuff than me, then I recommend checking out Jim Sterling's videos on this kind of subject, because he does the job way better than me. But the reason I'm making this video in the first place is because of the interesting scenario it brings up. When does microtransactions go too far? Of course, as we can see here, it went too far with Battlefront 2, but what caused it to get to this point? Simply put, the option to pay. It's been no surprise lately that the games industry has been more willing now than ever to put in paid content for players to get. This all started around the introduction of DLC, and on paper, it doesn't sound bad. I mean, you get extra downloadable content for a game you love, more playtime, maybe a new campaign story mode, new enemies, a ton of new stuff in a DLC, and it sounds good on paper because it gives the player more game time. But then people start to figure out how DLCs could be exploited, how they can be bundled in with season passes and DLC packs, and being forced to have players pay for a higher price to even get them. And it's not just gameplay anymore. Some games will go as so far as to include characters and skins and stuff as DLC. Then came along the season pass, and again, doesn't seem like a bad idea. Pre-order or get early copies of the game to have extra content, whether it be for you getting, as I've said before, DLCs loaded in with the season pass, or just extra content. But, you know, we all know how that turned out. And now we come to the loot box system. And honestly speaking, I can trace this back all the way to where it began. Or, more importantly, where it became prominent, with Overwatch. Now, before anybody says anything, no, I do not hate Overwatch. With the time I've spent playing it, which is not all that frequently, but I have played it, I must say I enjoy the game, and I think it's a fresh breath of air from the normal shooter formula, and it does a lot of things differently. But we can't simply cover up Overwatch as if it's a special little lamb because the items are cosmetics. No, it's basically the case zero of this whole DLC situation. And the fact that it was the one to popularize the loot box system of, paying in-game currency with money that you can use or by leveling up to gain loot boxes. Leveling up doesn't seem that bad, but then they add in the option to use real-world money to get loot boxes. And so, it was with that many people, and I do mean many people, began to make loot box unboxing videos. Every time a new event would come out, loot box videos, loot box videos, loot box videos. Just people forking over money to this company to have 50 or so loot boxes. And because of the spread and influence of how popular Overwatch is, this idea soon influenced other companies, saying, hey, this Overwatch game is making a ton of money from this loot box system. Let's just copy off of it and do an even worse job. We've seen games more recently now than ever use the loot box system, and it's becoming worse and worse. And I think it's only hit a breaking point up till now, with Battlefront 2. The fact that you have to play 40 hours as Darth Vader, and if you don't feel like it, have to pay money to buy him, is just absurd. But there's an interesting counter-argument to that I heard, and I remember it clearly from a while ago, and I was on Discord and I was talking to a fellow Monster Hunter YouTuber, Dak908. I'll link his channel in the description below. But basically, the general gist of what Dak said is that why are people making a fuss about Darth Vader if there are characters even before that, like Mewtwo from Melee, who had the same requirements? Why is Darth Vader all of a sudden the exception? And I think that's an interesting point to raise, because true, Mewtwo and a ton of other Smash characters have similar requirements to this, and in a way, both Darth Vader and Mewtwo's requirements are similar. But the difference comes from how they execute it. With Melee, you unlock a character by playing the game, for your sheer grit and determination. By playing the game in general, you unlock the character. You, not you buying it, you unlock it by playing the game. And if the microtransactions and card system wasn't there in the first place, I think nobody would have a problem with this. There may be some outcry over the fact that one of the most popular characters in all of media is locked behind a 40-hour wall, which I will admit is kind of obscene, but I don't think many people would have as much of a problem with it. But as soon as you add in the option to pay for that character using real-world money, you have no excuses now. Because now, you are exploiting the psychology, whether you admit to it intentionally or not. You are exploiting how humans psychologically work, and basically doing the equivalent of gambling. It psychologically manipulates the players into thinking, hey, why should I play 40 hours to unlock a single character when I can just fork over $5 to get him instantly? No pain, no fuss, nothing. You just unlock the character instantly and you don't have to go through anything. Bull crap. That's bull crap, honestly. And to make how ridiculous of a statement this is, let's imagine this. Let's imagine in Monster Hunter World, or in any Monster Hunter game, let's say that it's just like normal. If you want to get, say, the Anjanath armor, and you've almost got it complete, but you need a plate in order to complete it. And so you grind and grind and grind and grind and fight the monster, and eventually you get a plate. Through hard work, determination, and a lot of patience, you get the plate. It may have taken a while, but you gained that item. You completed the armor for your own sheer determinations and patience to sit through this and play the game. The game, as a result, rewards you for sticking with it and rewards you with a new armor or weapon, a new upgrade, whatever the case is. It makes you feel like a champion, that you have finally gotten the item you have desired for so long, and it gives you a sense of satisfaction. And now imagine that they implement a microtransaction and loot box system, where in which you pay credits in-game, or you can pay real-life money to gain boxes, where in which you can open boxes to get in-game items, potions, monster drops, etc. and there's a chance that in every loot box you can get a rare item from that monster. That doesn't seem that bad until you consider the fact that it completely destroys the purpose of Monster Hunter. EA is talking about this whole sense of accomplishment and pride for unlocking different heroes, when really they destroyed the purpose of even playing the game at all by implementing this loot box system. If it was implemented in Monster, it completely destroys the purpose of why we play Monster, of what makes it so special, the grinding and accomplishment and reward that comes with Monster Hunter. If you implement a loot box system in which you can just pay to win, basically, is just absurd, it's stupid, and it destroys the purpose of the game and why we play it. Same goes for Melee. You could either play 40 hours to unlock Mewtwo, or you could just fork over $2 or whatever to get a character instantly. No fuss, no pain, I've already been through this before, it's stupid, and it is absurd that anyone would think that this is a good idea. Now recently, EA has said that they have removed microtransactions for the time being from Star Wars Battlefront 2, and it's honestly a victory in that sense. But note that they said, for now, that just in the moment they removed loot boxes. They will try again. They know that this method that they tried to do, but the goal that they tried to get to didn't succeed. They were too direct with it. So now they're most likely going to do a more sneaky approach to it. And that's what scares me. The fact of how the game industry, EA, everything in general, can be so sneaky with this method that we don't even smell what's under our noses until it's too late. EA knows what goal they want, and they will do no matter what it takes to get there. And so, in concluding thoughts, allow me to answer the question I brought up earlier. When does microtransactions go too far? It goes too far when it destroys the purpose of the game. When you put the option to buy a character, not through determination, not through patience, not through you playing the game, just by you being impatient and being manipulated to spend money to instantly unlock something. That is when microtransactions go too far. I have been the Monarch of Dragons, and thank goodness World has no loot boxes. Hallelujah!